Hi, Vanessa.
Hello, how are you?
Great, great. So happy to see you and welcome to be guest on our podcast. It is amazing to meet people who are so passionate and really love what they do. And you are 12 years in this business, what you do. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started, how you found your passion.
Oh, I love that question. So my family's South American, and we came to the U.S. when I was a little girl, and I grew up in a spiritual home. My father was a business owner, and and my mom started a magazine in Argentina. So I was around people who loved what they did, and they initiated and they went after things, right? And then, coming into the U.S., you're struggling to learn a language, to do all the things. So the entrepreneurial spirit was in me, but I really didn't think that it was for me, right? I was like, well, it's part of my family. As
Mhm.
I grew up and my intuition got stronger, my curiosity, I would look at the world and be like, it doesn't have to be like this. I would look at fears people had, fears I had, things that I'd be like, oh, that's not for me. And so I started to explore hypnosis in my 20s. I got certified in clinical hypnotherapy. I learned hands-on healing. I learned mindfulness. I started to learn all these things, and my mom would say to me, why are you learning all these things? What are you going to do with them? Because I was working in corporate.
Mhm.
And then I started to gather women in healing circles. At first, everything that I did was really for free. It was just to help my community, right, in Queens and New York. But what I started to notice is that the work that I was doing, even though it was holding circles for women or just helping people for free, just listening to them, that it was making an impact. And so bit by bit, I started to do part-time work. And then in 2012, so many things happened. In life, sometimes the universe is letting you know that you have to make a big change. So I was in a car accident. I was in the back seat. I had surgery, I had a breakup, like all these big things happened to me in 2012. And my
Mhm.
friends were like, people were like, what's happening, And in my spirit, what I knew is like I was being asked to change my life. And not that I was doing anything wrong, I wasn't like I wasn't involved in any addiction or anything. It was more like my work was part-time. My work was my real passion. And so what happened in 2012 is that I decided to go full in. And so I dedicated myself to building a school online, to building like 9-month mastermind programs. And since then, I've been working with like thousands of people all over the world full time. I teach a lot of classes online. And the thing that excites me is really empowering people to understand that they have it within them and then helping them with processes, right? Like hypnosis or a class where they can release the patterns that are holding them back, where they
Mhm.
can change their mindset and then thrive and do what they're really born to do. Because I think each and every one of us is really born to do the thing that really lights us up and makes us happy.
Yes, yes. I like how you said that you help people to change mindset, and our podcast name is Mindset to Results. Yeah, because this is really the key. Mindset is the key. It is not about different skills or what people know. So many people can work like encyclopedias and knowing so many things, but they're totally lost in life and they don't know where they're going, what their goals are, what they want to achieve. Yeah, so mindset is the key, and really, I am very happy that you are here as a guest because I see that we have so many things to discuss. Yeah, and as we both share the same passion to help people with their mindset. Yes, amazing. So, how was how did you start? You said like you started with small, and then one year you created a program, and you said that you sold nine.
Yeah, it was a $9,000 9-month program. I had 20 teachers and 3 retreats. It was called the Urban Priestess Mastery. And it
Mhm.
was for women to really tap into their own intuition, their own inner power, so they could build whatever they wanted, their business, their life, change their lives. And I mean, it was very scary. I was laid off from work. And in New York City, rents are so high. I was living alone. that I was crying. I mean, I just want to be honest. I was like terrified, and I had no family in New York City. They had moved to Miami. So it
Mm-hmm.
was very much an act of faith and an act of understanding that everything in my life prepared me for that moment. And that's why a lot of people who want to build businesses, sometimes they're like, "Oh, I want to be a healer." And they take the workshop that week and then they think they're going to build a business next week. No, no, no. You need
Mm-hmm.
time to develop your skill set while you work on your mindset. So then, because people say, "How did you succeed so fast?" I said, "Because I was already an expert before I got online. I was already serving my community over 10 years, right? So people knew me. I was doing workshops in Queens and Manhattan. I was already doing things while I had my full-time job. But then it was like this moment where I understood that that I was supposed to do this, even though it was terrifying. And then I never looked back. And so when I created the 9-month program, I didn't have a mailing list. I didn't have like a big following online. What I had was a dream, and then asking 20 amazing teachers to come on board. It was one of the first diverse programs ever online, where it wasn't just, white teachers, it was everybody. I invited like people teaching Celtic shamanism, people teaching African spirituality. I brought in so many different people. And I learned a lot from that. I learned that I gave too much because 20 teachers in 9 months is a lot, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
less is more. I
Mm-hmm.
learned that 3 retreats in 9 months can also be a lot. And so I think that we take these chances, we try things, and then we also shift because every year that you're in your business, the economy changes, the algorithms change on social media, your audience changes. And so that's how I started. But since then, I've been adapting. When COVID hit in 2020, I had coaching clients who suddenly they had corporate jobs trying to build their businesses. They lost their business, they lost their jobs overnight, right? Or their husbands did. And so a lot of them stopped working with me, like very fast, March and April. People were
Mm-hmm.
like, sorry, I can't continue the contract. And I was like, oh my God, because I support myself, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
sat there and I said, okay. I looked at what was happening in the world and I said, people are now stuck at home. People don't know what's happening. These people stopped coaching with me now because they are freaking out. What can I do for people that is going to keep me flowing financially? And one of the things that I started doing was the energy healing online. And I
Mm-hmm.
did a pay what you can. Now, Elena, like people were critical. They're like, pay what you can. But I never taught a class for less than $2,500. So
No.
even though it was pay what you can, if
Mm-hmm.
50 people come and somebody's paying 200 but somebody's paying 50, you're still making income. And so it's been a balance of how to help people, serve people, and also support myself, because
Mm-hmm.
if we do not take care of ourselves, then we're not going to be any good for other people. And you know how it is when you're desperate online or you're desperate in business, people can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened in 2020. And then at one point, I was working like 7 days a week. My business tripled because people were so stuck at home. They
Mm-hmm.
needed hypnosis, they wanted healing, they wanted training,
Mm-hmm.
that it was really wild. And now the landscape is changing again. And so I think as business owners too, we have to be very aware of what's happening in the world and how things are shifting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, amazing. And all this, as you said, that what people have in their life, yes, they can see as experience which prepare them for something. And I liked how you said, like, even accident that happened, yes, so you didn't go to that victim mentality and say why I'm doing so good, I'm helping people, and why this accident happened. Yes, so it was so easy to be discouraged and disappointed, thinking that you are so good and why this happened there. And I liked how you said that you looked at this as the sign. What is it is telling me, right? Like what is telling, what lesson I can learn from this? Yes, and it is so interesting when we whatever happens, even it is very bad, as you said, you had surgery, you had accident, yes, but it is so interesting that if we have the right attitude and we look for good in every situation, we can always turn any situation to our good. Yes, and I really enjoy this. Say, wow, like it is another one example that everything happens for our good, and even if that moment can feel that it is so bad, yes, it's painful, but again, this is when we look back. We can say that it was the best situation because of that situation. I understood something. I don't and I changed my trajectory, and now I am here even because of that. If that didn't happen, maybe you would not be here today,
Oh,
right?
I agree. I wouldn't. You know why? Because when you live, I've been alone, living alone in New York City since I'm 21, right? And having many jobs and
Mhm,
supporting myself. And if there's a problem, nobody was giving me anything, right? My family was in Miami, they were taking care of the other kids. So I was highly, highly independent and oftentimes having one or two jobs, like one corporate job and then the side business, right?
mhm,
So I would have stayed probably. My rent was already $2,000 for one bedroom 15 years ago,
wow.
right? Yeah,
Mhm,
right on top of the bills and college debt and all the things. So I would have stayed in my comfort zone, still done what I did, but this
mhm,
was so extreme where I felt like my health was challenged, my heart was challenged because I lost a relationship. You
mhm,
know, I went through this fear with the car flipping over 3 times, and then it landed wheels up. My parents were hanging from from the seatbelt, and I was like on the roof thinking, "Am I dead? What's going on?" And when I helped them unbuckle and then crawl out of the car, I heard inside me, "Do not go back to corporate." Like the thing is, I
mhm,
think that we all have things that we're meant to be. It's not something that we can imagine and be like, oh, I'm meant to be this singer. It's not about fame. It's not about, because I sing, but I'm not a singer like on TV. I sing in a local theater, right? It's like
mhm,
people, I think, sometimes take an idea or a dream or a love and they try to blow it up. We
mhm,
also have to pay attention to what we're here to offer the world. And if we get too extreme, like people say to me, I'm going to be Oprah, I'm going to be Tony Robbins. 5 years
mhm,
later, they don't even have a business, right?
mhm,
Like, do not exaggerate so much, just show up. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, my life is being wiped clean. You know, like no love, no job. I was like, okay, barely my health.
mhm,
Let me use what I have. What I have is my certifications, my experience, my training, my passion, my abilities to help people. And then, you know, I did my first 4-week course online in 2013, like late, it was actually late 2012. And I made $2,000 and I think I charged $97, right?
mhm,
And I got only 20 something people. And then I did another one and it was another 2000. And then I did the 9-month program and I was terrified. And so I was scared every moment. What if it doesn't work? I have to go back to corporate. But then I was
mhm,
calming myself down and saying to myself, I'm not doing this alone. I am also working with the universe. The universe is guiding me and saying, hey, you have these gifts and talents. It's time for you to open your wings. And I think that there are those moments in our lives where we can collapse because I did cry, you know, and then I cried. I was like, I am a good person. Why? But then I sat down and I quieted my mind. And it was like, it's not about being a good person. It's about you being invited into being all that you are. And like you
mhm,
said, if I didn't go through those things, no, I would probably be in corporate with my side part-time business and be happy and be fine. You know what I mean? But this forced me, or at least it invited me, and I accepted to really, and I mean, I've run summits online. I've taken people to Peru on a spiritual journey. I've taken people to Mexico. A lot of the dreams that I had, I was able to to come true because when you go through something so intense that you lose so much, your job, your love, your this, you're like, well, I have nothing to lose. Let me go with my dreams, right? And then when
mhm,
you start succeeding, it gives you more energy to keep going.
mhm. Yes, exactly. I think that when we go through difficult times, we discover something that we didn't know that we had. Yes, this is like universe gives us that ability to discover something secret. Yes, like which we didn't know, and it's like you have that ambition, you want that, so you have to grow, right? So different situations which we have to overcome, and exactly in this difficult time how we grow, how we evolve and we transform, and then we look back and we see that we were totally different person. Like I am now, if I look 5 years back, I wouldn't recognize myself. And
Beautiful.
also, I had so many challenges and it was really hard time. But now when I look back, I really appreciate every moment and I don't want to change anything because I understand that those exactly moments when I was so like feeling so like broken piece was, yes, and too many pieces and was collecting myself, those were moments which gave me that experience, and we can become more deeper. Yes, we can understand life. Yes, we it is not like just reading the book, especially when it comes about working with people, like be coach or mentor or consultant. It is much more from life experience. You cannot get this, you cannot read. It doesn't depend how many books you will read, but you can never get that. But when you live that, yeah, when you live that experience, this is how you understand. Yeah, you can be deeper, you can be more grounded. Yes, you don't get emotional for many reasons because you go there, and like some people told me that you are like a steel, you become like steel every time. Yes, you all these challenges they make you stronger, so next time when you face something you don't react. Yes, so what is that like? Okay, but
Yeah.
other people who didn't have that experience, they can react, they can panic, but it is you look at that like it is not even like it is not even a problem. Yes, just why you just don't shift your focus and look something to get from this situation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that we have to change. A lot of us are taught, well, if you're a good person, your life is going to be great. Well, it is going to be great, but we are all human. And being human and being incarnated in this life means that we're going to go through human experiences. And human experience is illness, is change. We're going to experience death for ourselves, for other people. We're going to experience loss. We're also going to experience fulfillment, joy, expansion, growth. It's not like we can pick, oh, I just want this experience when we're human. And I think that some people have that thinking still where they're like, well, if you're good, everything works out. No. If you're good, you're going to have the strength to continue to be positive, to move forward. But like I'll tell you, in 2020, that year, that my business tripled, I lost my mom, my dad, and my brother from different things. So my mom died of a strange, my father passed away from COVID. My mom then passed away from an illness. My brother was born with a heart condition. So in the year of 2020, right, where I lost my clients, then suddenly all these people in my family that I love passed away. And people would say to me, oh, don't you want to stop working? Don't you want to stop? First of all, I couldn't really afford to stop working for a year, maybe a month, but not a year. But second of all, um, I could feel the energy of my parents and my family going, keep going, keep going. You know what I mean? Like just because they left their bodies and they left the earth, and it was very intense. I mean, Lena, I cried every day. I mean, I felt my feelings, but I also felt excited. I felt excited to help people. I felt excited to train people. I wanted to, when people were stuck at home and they were scared and they were like, what am I going to do with my life? And I don't know what's going to happen with my job and my family and my this. I was like, let me be that rock for them. Let me, and to be honest, be like, look, I understand. I just lost half my family. Let us move forward together. And so it's important for us to know that these human things are going to happen to us. And the important thing is, how do we handle it? How do we handle the things that happen to us? and still succeed and still thrive and still grow, right? And I'm so happy that I didn't stop when my family, passed away, because I know that they're so proud of me. Like, they were business owners, they were people who started things. They want me to succeed. A couple of years before my mom passed away, I was offered a job in marketing. And it was because I've been doing my own marketing online all these years, doing webinars, selling online. And I gave somebody advice in a company here where I live, and they came back. They're like, "We want to bring you on board." And I said to my mother, after all these years online, maybe it's time for me to go to a corporate company too. And my mother's like, "Are you crazy?" At first she didn't want me to do this. She's like, "Now you've been doing it successfully for many years. Now people are interested in online business, and people are interested more in coaching. They're interested in spiritual and wellness. And you're going to leave now when everything is getting hot and you were one of the first people on there." So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"You're right." And so there are going to be these challenges that happen, and the routines that we set up for ourselves, the mindsets that we set, they're the ones that are going to carry us through our lives.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing your story. It is really so empowering, and you did such a great job that you could found that strength within you to continue doing what you love to do and what you're passionate about. Yes, and I think that when we lose our loved ones, we understand that how short life is. Yes, how short life is. Some people live like they have agreement to live 5,000 to 10,000 years. But if we look at reality, like people live somehow dreaming about future, that something that they love to do, they will do if or when, and it never happens, and we don't know how many days we have. Yeah, so these situations, as you described, your parents were passionate, they had business dreams, and then it just happened that they passed away, and we can understand that how life is fragile. Yes, like we never know how much we have in the future, and everything that we have is just this present moment. Yes, and
Absolutely.
there is no other time to do what we love to do, what we're good at, and what we are passionate about than now, because we
Yes.
don't know how much time we can do that. And I think that the most regret is when people get old and not cannot do much, yeah, and know that they will not live for long. I think the most biggest regret is not about something that they didn't do, but what I mean, not about what they did and didn't succeed, yeah, or maybe did wrong. I think the most regret is about what they didn't do, that they had opportunity and they didn't do it. Yes, like what they could have, what life they could have, or how many people lives they could impact or helped, and they didn't do that. I think that would is the I think this is the biggest regret.
Agreed. I do. I agree with you. And I when I moved, I'm from New York, and I moved to Central PA. I met my husband. I moved here, and it's very hard at first because I walk everywhere in New York here, and we don't. Um, and I joined a theater, and thinking of like life is short, and I learned improv, which is when you make everything up on stage. And I've been performing now 7 years since I've been here. I teach improv now, like I teach a class at the theater, and I love it, so I have my business full time, and then I go and I play, and I make things up, we laugh, we sing, and
Mhm.
it's been such a good thing for me because, like you said, it's about the things we didn't do that we regret. And I said to myself, I can't just work, work, work all the time, or work, work, and family. I want work, work, family, and also a hobby that brings me joy. So, but honestly, that's how it affected me. When my parents passed and my brother, I said, okay, I don't know how long I have. I
Mhm.
want to do the things. I'm going to take people to Peru. We're going to go on a 10-day journey. We're going to do Machu Picchu. We're going to go here. I want to
Mhm.
do performing. I want to create a show, which I did. And so that's where I've been. I've taken it as like inspiration to live my life fully. So,
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I can see that that you have such a great energy and you live life, you do what you really enjoy to do and help people. Yeah, because this energy is contagious. Yes, like you can feel it. Yeah, and this is how what we meant to do and how we meant to be. We are creative, right? We have this ability to create things which didn't even exist because we have this high mental faculties such as imagination, yeah, and this intuition, and we can visualize things in our mind and then we can bring them into physical form. So it is so important for people to understand that they are not just here to just live and just pay bills or just work for somebody. Everyone came with this uniqueness and unique talents and gifts, yeah, and we are here to bring these talents into the surface to do something, yeah, like creators, because we have been made according to the God image, yeah, so we have this creating abilities. And for me, success means that lie with fulfillment, when you not just it is like to have like material things, yes, but for me success really is when you really found what is your strength, what is your genius, and you brought those talents and gifts, you develop them and you use them for the good. Yes, and that I think gives that feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment and joy. And more you go to the direction of your gifts and talents, what you're good at, more energy is given to you. So it feels like you're in the flow because you already found what you want. And then you just have that great state of gratitude, yes, love to people, confidence, because you feel, you know, that you can help them, you can impact them. And this is what